Hi, I'm Philippa and I'm here to talk about my injury journey as a freelance dancer at the moment. So I got this injury, I think recently, 3 years ago, and it's been very tough. I'm a freelance dancer, a foreign freelance dancer in London, and this all started when I was still in uni. I was followed by NHS. Everything was great. I recovered. It took around a year since starting the appointments and having MRIs, X-rays, all of that, physio done, and it took me a year and a half to get fully back on track. And nowadays it's been very tough because the injury returned, and I went back to kind of zero. So walking is hard, working is hard, like going up and down the stairs is hard. So dancing, it's not even on the plan. That's what it looked like March 2025. So I got a new job, and unfortunately the injury came with the heaviness of this job. So I had to leave this job, and fortunately enough I could return to my previous one. I've been followed again by the same hospital, NHS dance specialist hospital, and it's been a very different experience, which led me to the present moment, which is I came back to Portugal to pay for my own treatments, because at the moment it's a 10-month that I have this injury and it's not looking great. It is better because I had an appointment back home here in August, which did really improve the state of the injury. So I did start taking some dance classes, which is plus. However, I still cannot travel or move very well. So yeah, I decided to take a few months off, and this comes with a lot of struggles, which I think people do not really fully open. They did most talk about the injuries when they're over, and kind of want to record that during. I want to show like what do I do in between sessions, and I'm not so sure yet if I will be saying or filming anything during the sessions, because it's a very fragile and a very sensitive moment, and very painful as well. So yeah, my mind is not really into bringing a camera. Even if I have my phone or anything, I just don't want to, I want that moment to be healing and thinking about recovery, and not filming something in a certain angle. But other than that, I will be talking about prices, and yeah, hopefully it will not be a very long process, since in March 2026 it will be a year that I'm on this moment again. So, and hopefully this time it can be a recovery, like for real. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I experienced this physiotherapist before, and I also had an injury like 5 years ago with which I've done my treatment with him, and I'm so very grateful for his knowledge and for everything. So yeah, and yeah, stay tuned if you want to know more. It's not like a very... The funny part on all of this is they cannot really tell me the injury, but for sure, like, it doesn't seem to be any stress fracture, or like I did not damage any muscle. Everything seems fine. However, the pain is so big that it's just excruciating walking. And right now, I've done the first treatment, was like a shock therapy treatment. I do not know the terminology, so forgive me for that. And it was very painful, like, but it was freaking amazing, because after 3 months I was back into jumping, which was something I was not able to do for around like a year. So that was fantastic. And then I fully recovered. I went back to dancing full time, with performances and everything, and like working full time. So everything was great. So this time, the approach that the hospital wanted to do was injection. But to be honest, I do not feel very comfortable with the idea just now. I'm not saying I'm against injections or against medicine at all. I just feel like the type of treatment I was having, it was just physiotherapy, but just like they were giving me exercises to do to see if that time would recover. But we've been doing this for 6 months, and now they are suggesting the injection, which I was not so comfortable, because not necessarily for the injection, but like what is the future like after the injection? Can I go back to dancing fully, or is just something that temporarily gonna seem like I don't have pain, and then I cannot dance fully? I never know if I'm gonna be able to dance fully anyway, but what I mean is I wanted to try out other things first before I return or use the injection. And I'm not saying please speak to your doctor, ask your opinions. I asked many opinions, and that's why I'm trying to choose this one for now, and we will see. I started my first treatment today, is the 5th of January, and I have my first appointment. Next Thursday I'll be having the next one, and yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I did have one in August, so that's the pretty big space. Is January, oh no, August, September, October, November, December, like almost 5 months apart. But that was such a big improvement. And this physiotherapy was with needle, and so I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited, and very grateful that I can afford to do it, which I think it's not talked about enough in the industry, especially if you emigrate or if you just don't live with your parents, how there is a shift of focus. And especially then if you have an injury, in like if you're not working in the industry, and then you have to have a job full time to pay your bills, but then you want to dedicate time to your craft, and it's a whole bubbly of emotions, because you never know if you can really go back to your craft while you're focusing on healing and also working, because you have to pay your bills. So for sure this was a very challenging decision to come back for like a few months. It took me like a good 6 months to decide if I wanted to do this, because it feels like a pause. It's like a pause that at the time I wasn't sure if it was worth it to just stop everything and go and choose health over anything, over a career, over a work, over paying bills. So we will see what that leads, but I think it's a very important talk to have, that not everything is not, it's not always easy to choose our health. And I'm very grateful for all of my family and friends around me that assure me that this will also just be fine, and it will pass. Where all of this will take me, and I will tag you along. I will also do some price, how much will cost all of this. I think it's very important to be truthful, because I don't think it is cheap at all. And we know this kind of sport slash hard art is very expensive, especially if you do not have a contract with a company which has physiotherapy. So yeah, it is important to talk about those things and share, because I believe that I will not be the only person going through it. There's so much more people, and I don't think, yeah, it's talked enough during the process. Just afterwards, when we all fine and just everything went well, like the frustrating moments, I don't know how many times I would just be at work like crying, frustrated, just to make the decision of, do I want to really stop working and go back home to take care of it? Will it even be worth it, or should I just push through, pretend that I don't have pain, and then hope for the best? But I know deep down that's not really gonna help it either in the long run, and all we want is a long career and healthy career, but also life. So I don't want to after I retire, I don't want to be worried about, can I walk? I'm gonna have pain. Will I be able to walk? All of those. So yeah, please stay tuned for more, and